Welcome again. We're going to start our lecture, the first lecture, which I find is so interesting. What happened to common sense? How many times I hear people saying, I cannot believe this is happening. Doesn't people have common sense anymore? And that's true. People do not have common sense anymore. And that's why I have an article for you to read as a reading assignment that I would like later on for you to discuss your view, what you think about the article. Because if you notice today, and even when I ask question, what is sexual harassment in your company? Oh, I don't know, the policy, we have a policy about that. What's a policy? Every time I hear that, common sense, there's a policy. What's the policy in this situation? What is the policy about doing this? And I find it so interesting because there really isn't common sense. If everybody have common sense, like my common sense, then I think we have a common sense. But what is common sense? And one of the reasons why there is no common sense is because our society, the United States, does not have a shared morality. Now, do we have a shared morality? Absolutely not. This is why we have all the problems that we have. To give you an example, when we had our former President Clinton, and he was busy having extracurricular activity, you see the problem we had. Should we impeach him? Shouldn't we impeach him? I mean, after all, and what was the decision? Well, 61% of the people thought that he was doing a good job as a president. And maybe that's why he was doing a good job as a president, because of the extracurricular activity. I don't know. But the point was that the House of Representatives was ready to impeach him, and the Senate was not. So he was not impeached. Now, if we had a shared morality, if we agreed, 65% agreed that we will not have a president that does that. It doesn't matter if he does a good job as a president or not. That's the behavior that we will not accept as a nation. He would have been impeached. So that's the one situation that I want to share with you. Why we don't have common sense. Because common sense, that means we all have some kind of shared morality, which we don't. So to give an example, in this situation, which was a landmark case of 1886, and that's why the case was decided then in 1889, this is the first case that I remember going to law school that amazed me. Here is the three guys that are English seamen, and there's a teenager boy there. And of course, they are getting lost on storm, and they decided to throw some dice, and the younger one gets killed, and they make hamburgers or steak, whatever you want to like to eat, out of him, and they come back to shore, 3 men, nice and alive. So here we go where they decided, the court says, now what are we going to do here? And I just see that they killed the boy, and you'll see on the PowerPoint slide how the story happened for detail. And I thought that was 40 days later, the men were rescued. And they go to court, and now 1 man is dead. 3 men are alive. Did they commit murder or not? Did they commit murder or not? If the men had not fed on the boy's body, they would have probably have died within 4 days. But the boy also was in a very bad condition. You have to think that they were lost in high seas, so probably all 4 of the men were not in good condition. And looks like the teenager was even in worse condition than the other 3 guys. So the basic question in this case is whether or not the survivors should be subject to penalties under the English criminal law. I mean, they did commit murder. There's no questions about it. So they should be coming out, and they should be the death penalty or life sentence. But I mean, they should not go home with their family and live happy ever after. So here is a situation where at that time the king started asking, what are we going to do? And you'll see that we have in the Supreme Court of the United States, and even at that time, you had justices that trying to decide what we're going to recommend to the king. And of course, you can have the judge that say, hey, the statute says do not kill. The statute does not say, which is law, the penal code says do not kill. The statute does not say do not kill except when you are on high sea and you go fishing and you're getting lost, therefore it's okay for you to kill a person so that you can come back alive. And remember, we have rights, right to life. And of course, the three men can say, hey, we have right to life. But what about the dead man, his parents? They're going to say, we have a right to have a son that is a teenager. He has more life than the other guys. So you know that there's going to be a big controversy here. Because what are we going to do here? So you're going to have the justice or the judge is going to say, they commit murder. There is no exception. He doesn't deserve to be alive. All three of them should be life sentence or death penalty or whatever the criminal code at that time was, which was a lot stricter than we have today. And of course, some judges would say, what are you going to do here? And this is where I find it very, very interesting, because some judges are going to say, no, I don't think we should kill the three men because they have family, they have children. And isn't it better to have three men alive than have four dead ones? Or have them three in jail, and then we have to support the family and the kids. So these are the things that I want you to see how we can discuss when we're going to go into the discussion board, because you're going to see the different perspective that people will see it. If you're going to argue or if you discuss this issue from a standpoint of view of the three men, that they have a right to life, then it's okay for them to kill that person. But then if you're going to take the stand of the person that is dead, because we really don't want to see people because they have a right to life to kill somebody else so that they can have a right to life, then that is not correct either. So the judge has to pull himself up and says, okay, what are we going to do here? What kind of behavior? Do we want to encourage people to kill somebody because they have a right to life? What about the person that was killed, his family? They have a right to have a son that when they get older, that son's going to take care of them. So these are the things that I like that we discuss on our discussion board when we meet again and go over and see how you're going to see this case. Thank you. Let me review the second part too, because I don't remember what we got into. I remember this case for the second part.
10 slides.
The second one is 10 slides?
Yeah.
You did pretty good. Wow, you surprised me. You got through that quickly.
Yeah, next one's pretty fast too.
Yeah,
See, now we go into some of the fairness. You see that?
Yeah.
Okay. This
You got this
question
one?
again. Please discuss your thoughts on the discussion board. When you go back, which one is I'm asking? Just the one before. Okay. What is justice? Okay.
A couple of TV pointers for you. Before you start, you got to look at the camera. Focus on the camera before you start.
Instead, I look over here. So it reminds me of the lectures about.
Well, before you start the lecture, but you know what?
Do I have to say again that I'm Diana Walsh? I don't have to
No,
say
no,
that.
no.
Okay.
No, because they know who you are now.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's just that when we start rolling the tape, after you
Click the
after
things,
you click
yes.
all those things, you need to look
Go
at
back to the thing.
Yeah.
Instead, I continue to look at this.
Yeah, for TV purposes, you look at that, then you go to that.